Since the switch to Willie Taggart and the staff that he's assembled at Oregon, the Ducks have been aggressive and successful when it comes to recruiting in 2018, but after this past weekend, they really jump-started their 2019 class with the commitment of Texas wide receiver R.J. Henderson. Now, Henderson is one of the top players in the country at wide receiver, and his commitment to Oregon is a bit surprising after he committed to Oklahoma earlier this spring under similar circumstances and decommitted just a few weeks later. Although he holds offers from just about everyone, he came back right away with a top four that still included Oklahoma, as well as Texas A&M and Texas, who he said multiple times on the record was his dream school. So for him to choose Oregon really speaks to how much he enjoyed himself on his last visit out there. As a player, he does everything that you could ask for in a wide receiver. He's a guy that can line up inside or out, runs with speed and precision in his routes, and catches the ball clean with his hands. He's also proven to be really good at catching passes contested by defenders, so I've been impressed with just the concentration that he shows looking balls in and securing them. Now, if all stays as is, Henderson will be joining up with four-star 2018 wide receiver Miles Battle, who also committed after his visit last weekend. Battle is a guy that I have been a little bit higher on than others, I think, but I've seen him at numerous events over the last year and a half, and while he might not be as aggressive in nature as Henderson, for example, it's hard to keep him from making a big impact in passing games because of his length and his ability to high-point passes. Like most guys built as he is, he's more of a strider, glider type runner that is always going to want his shot running vertical down the sideline rather than getting mixed up, being stretched out over the middle for a tough grab, but his value as a pass catcher is easy to see, and he's certainly capable of shaking a corner out of a break as well. Of course, both those guys will be working against four-star 2018 cornerback Verone McKinley for the next few seasons. McKinley chose the Ducks after some flirtation with Washington and Penn State, but he's yet to visit State College and had a pretty good feel for both Oregon and Washington after a couple recent visits out there. Now, the knock on McKinley used to be his size. I don't really think that's cause for concern anymore. He's kind of in the 5'11 neighborhood height-wise, and while he's not the biggest dude on the block by any means, he's continuing to fill out little by little. I really like his headiness and desire to come up and make tackles at the line in spite of all those things I just said. And now the big thing he really needs to work on is just not letting his man get behind him. He's really good off the line, doesn't make mistakes reading plays, but the speed in the Pac-12 could become a little bit of an issue for him covering those longer downfield routes. Overall, though, you have to love what Oregon is doing, not just on the West Coast, but down here in Texas as well, and the Ducks continue to have a ton of momentum recruiting as we get closer to the fall.